All right. Good morning, all participants and also presenters.
Good morning.
Welcome to oral session 1 of the 8th International Language and Language Teaching Conference in Room 2. My name is Patris Anjaliatan, a 7th semester student of Sanata Dharma University as today's moderator in this room. I will be in charge of this oral session. Before we begin, please let me read the rules. 1. Each presentations will last for 15 minutes. 2. In this oral session, there will be 2 presentations delivered in a row. 3. For the presenters, I will remind you if you have 5 minutes left via raise hand icon, followed by notification in the chat box if you have 2 minutes left. 4. We will have question and answer session after all presenters have finished their presentations. 5. You may find other rules in the program book. Now, without any further ado, let's start our presentation. There are 2 presentations in this room. The first one is by Erina Andriani, and the second one is by Marcus Budiraharjo, Mukairon, and Siti Murtiningrum. And now let's start with the first presentation. The title is Senior High School Teachers' Challenges and Coping Strategies in Teaching Literature in Online Environment. It will be delivered by Erina Andriani from Sanata Dharma University. Miss Erina Andriani, you may have your time and good luck.
Okay, thank you, Miss. Good morning, everyone. My name is Erina Andriani.
Good morning.
I am the student of Sanata Dharma University, and in this occasion, I got the opportunity to present you my study regarding the senior high school teachers' challenges and coping strategies in teaching literature in online teaching environment. So these are the things that I will cover in this presentation. So the study began when I realized that the schools in Indonesia still lack the literary approach that emphasizes the literature in the learning English language compared to the linguistic approach. And that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the sudden shift to online learning environment caused confusion and lack of preparation for the teachers, especially when they had to provide a learning and teaching process, while at the same time they had to learn to use technology because they might have no experience beforehand to go fully online. So I went through the already available studies and I found that even though there were some studies regarding the teachers' challenges in online teaching, they rarely emphasized the literature field and the teacher strategies to solve those challenges. So in this study, I aim to explore the EFL teachers' challenges in teaching literature and also their strategies to cope with the said challenges. So that resulted into 2 research questions. The first one is regarding the teachers' challenges in teaching literature, and the second one is the teachers' strategies to cope with those challenges. So the theoretical framework for this study are regarding the teachers' challenges. The already available studies present the teachers' challenges revolved around 3 issues. The first one is regarding the technology use, and then the students' issues, and then the last one is the subject delivery, especially literature. And that the teacher could come with coping strategies, for example, varying the materials and media, varying the teaching approaches, varying the media use, etc. So I conducted this study. It is a narrative inquiry study, and the participants for this study were 3 senior high school teachers from Tangerang Selatan, Banten, and then I used semi-structured interview for the participants, and I conducted the data gathering around August. And then after the data were gathered, it were transcribed and then coded and tabulated and then discussed based on their themes. And since there are 2 research questions, the first one is regarding the challenges. I divided them into 3 subtopics. The first one is the challenges regarding the technology use. So the teachers shared that they had challenges regarding the use of LMS and then the use of the meeting platforms like Zoom or Google Meet, and then the delivery platforms like using YouTube or blogs or other websites that they could use to present the activities. And then the last one is the submission platform, like for the assignments, for example, emails or LMS or YouTube or other applications that they used for the students to submit their work. So this is one part of the interview. So those results were aligned with Atmojo and Nugroho and also Efriani and Hassan, that the teachers struggled with their technology use to teach in an online learning environment. And the second issue is regarding the students' issues, because if the students face challenges in following the online learning environment, the teachers also had to deal with the students' challenges. And then these challenges regarding the students' misbehavior, especially their lack of participation and being absent or passive in the classroom, and also the students' gadget and internet connection, and also the students' technology use, because they also had rarely ever go fully online beforehand, and also their effective aspect, especially their emotions and motivation in participating in the learning. And the last one is regarding the assessment of the students' understanding. So this is also one part of the interview. So those results are aligned with Raja and Naga Sumbramani regarding the technology use, and also Nasruddin et al. And Wahab and Iskandar regarding the students' gadget and internet, and Chun et al. Regarding the students' understanding and teachers' control of the whole learning by the students. And the last part regarding the challenge is about the subject delivery, especially the literature. The teachers' challenges were providing the activities and then finding the proper approach that they could use to help the students learning, and then deciding the task forms and the assessment forms, and also to motivate the students to make reflection and make their own composition, and also for them to read more stories because it is about literature, and give opinion and critical assessment regarding those stories that they have read, and also regarding the language knowledge that they could get through learning literature. This is the part of the interview. So those results are aligned with Hussein and Al-Imami. regarding the challenges to adjust the materials with the students' preferences, knowledge, and the learning objectives. And to cope with their challenges, the teachers came up with some strategies. The first one is regarding the technology use. They were not afraid to seek help from others, from the other students or the other teachers, and then they try to utilize the technology even more by getting used to the websites or the applications that they would use in the classroom, and then they also learn the features of the online platforms, and they test the tools before the learning process before they can provide the class. So the results are aligned with Evriana, that the teachers could perform better when they get used to the technology, and that the teachers learn beforehand to integrate technology in the classroom. The next one is regarding the students' issues. Their strategy is to be more proactive, to reminding the students assessment or deadlines, and then provide better and clearer instructions regarding how to use the tools or what to be assessed, and then give more forum and discussions for the students, and also managing the number of online meetings because the students might have internet problems, and also considering the students' workload and checking plagiarism and students' work originality. So the strategies, by utilizing individual, offline, and asynchronous forms of learning, and then gave instruction to reduce confusion and adjusted the file and the assignments are in line with Manzolillo, Pau, and Atmojo and Nugroho. And the last one is regarding the subject delivery. The teachers' strategies were reducing the reading tasks, and then considering the forms of assignments, and used familiar literary works, and share the students' work so they could learn from each other, and then including reflections for the English skills they have learned from learning the literature. So those strategies were used to engage the students more, because if the students were familiar with the stories, they could participate more, they would be engaged more in the classroom and in the discussion, so they would create student-centered, meaningful, realistic, and applicable classrooms, and that is in line with Efriana. And we've come to the conclusions that the first conclusion is that the teachers had similar challenges regarding the technology use, and then the students' issues and subject delivery, and the teachers came up with their own strategies to solve those problems. And the implication of the study is for the teachers to reflect on their challenges, to find the ways of to handle those challenges. And these are the references for this study, and that's all from me. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Elena Andriani, for your very fruitful and interesting discussion on coping strategies and also challenges of teaching literature in senior high school. And let's give applause for Miss Elena Andriani. All right, before we go to the next presentation, I would like to remind the participants, if you have a question for the presenters, You may shoot and write the question in the chat box with the format name, affiliation, to whom the question is addressed to, then the question. And later, the presenters will answer it during the question and answer session. Or if later you want to ask the question directly to the presenters, it's also possible. Thank you. And now let's move to the next presentation. The title is Transformation Stories of English Teachers in the In-Service Teacher Professional Development Program. It will be delivered by Mr. Marcus Budiraharjo, Mukairon, and Siti Murtiningrum. For the presenters, you may have your time. Good luck. I'm sorry, Mr. Marcus, I think you're still muted.
Thank you. Thank you, Mbak Patrice. I will be accompanied by Pak Mukairon and also Ibu Siti. Pak Mukairon is now one of the teachers undergoing PPG Daljab, in service profession program. And Bu Siti Murtiningrum is Guru Pamong. So Pak Mukairon is here, I guess. I hope you are ready to present. Pak Mukairon, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Great. Please.
Okay. Yeah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, the moderators, and also, all of the participants here. Welcome to the DH International Language and Language Teaching Conference, or ALATICI 2021, held by Sanata University. Here with us, Muheron, and also the partner, Mr. Marcus Budiraharjo, and also Mrs. Siti Murtiningrum. It is good occasions. We all bring a good emotions. It's about transformation strategies of English teaching. It is an in-service teachers professional development program held by Sanata Dharma University in this year. This program is held on a pandemic situations like what we related to the topic of the HLRTG this year. Ladies and gentlemen, here we have from this one, we have 5 kinds of the analysis that will be discussed. The first one is about background, and then the second one is about literature review. The third one about research method. The next findings and discussion, and the last one about conclusion and recommendations. So let us go into the first one about background. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know that PPG program or Teachers Professional Development Program here, implementation is very high representative and prescriptive, of course. And then here, ladies and gentlemen, prescriptive here means that goals are set already by the government. And then materials are mandatory. Of course, here's from the principle of education. And then evaluation is fixed, deals with the time and also some kind of scoring. And then the last one about scheduling is very rigid. It's held in at about 3 months. Then the second one, in fact, however, there is a room for experimentations. Since we have 6 members of group 5 here, or group 5 attempt to use the room for experimentations. And then we have the basic principles here. This is that will be delivered and explained by us correctly here. The first one is about authenticity, and then the second one is about accountability. What does it mean by authenticity? This is about during the program here, the instructor or facilitator here attempt to capture the setting challenge faced by participants, 6 participants here. And then the instructor attempt to problematize the issues at hand involving all participants. So this is very real situations happened at the field in every school. The participants teach, especially teaching English. Then the last one, all participants got involved in solving the problems here. And then from the basic principle here, the second one is about accountability. The first one, every participant is considered to be an independent entity. So we have free to choose and also to bring some situations in this program. Then every participant is responsible to share on practices is based on the real situations happened during teaching learning process at class, and also undergone by the participants during the process of teachers' professional development programs. And then last one, every participant demonstrate willingness to change and develop. Change and develop here is so very meaningful for us as the participants here. And then, ladies and gentlemen, there is a big questions from this. This is about what transformation did participants demonstrate to have taken place the first 2/3 of PPG program. This is a big question that will be answered by us here. And then going to the literature review, this is about transformative learning theory, or TLT. The transformative learning theory here, basic of this is said that adults undergo transformative learning when they admit their own limitations. And then the second one here is about adults demonstrate to have acquired. There are semantic change and perspectival change. The semantic change is about technical knowledge, and then perspectival change is about belief system. This is the main core that our discussion. This is about semantic change and perspectival change from our 6 members in this group. And then going to the research method here, it is about qualitative study. And then the research participants here is taken from 6 PPG participants. Comes from 1 teachers from senior high school, 3 teachers from vocational school, and then 2 teachers come from junior high school. And then about the time here, this is about average time of teaching learning process. But the data here, the data taken from reflective journals of participants. As usually every day here in the daily activities, we get and write some data here. And also the second one is about from discussion here, group discussion. And then how to gather the data here. So to gather the data here during the program, the instructor encouraged the participants to write short reflections and a kind of shirt. And then after this, the participants here maintaining authenticity and accountability here. And then the forum discussions here taken the 3rd of September this year. And then about data analysis here, so many kinds of the analysis here, such as using the TLT framework or adult learning theory. Then the data were analyzed. And then the second one, the data of the transformations were categorized into 2 port terms. This about schematic and perspective, like what I have talked before. And then to ensure the trustworthiness, the research write-up was shared to the participants for especially here member checking. And then going to the 4th here, it is about finding and discussions. This is about the discussion that will be held today. Is about schematic transformations. The first one, schematic transformations here consists of technology adoption, more various instruction resources, and then more various instructional strategies. Ladies and gentlemen, we said that before we conduct this program, we as a teacher here hold the very old way to teach the students in the class. But after having joined the program here, so many activities we got like special in technology adoption here. We aware from the participants here, we aware that activating YouTube account is very important. Meanwhile, using Canva, using quizzes, using Padlet, also Google Meet, also, yeah, the new one is about video editing. Here, the most effective one in bringing the materials during the program. And then more various instructional resources here, like using listening materials and also using some kind of videos to enrich our processes at a class. And then the next one is about more various instructional strategies, like compare and contrast, self-generating questions, and also making on a lesson plan here. And then the second one from the finding and discussion here is about perspectival transformations. So amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Let's imagine that before we conduct the program here, yeah, we just copying and pasting about a lesson plan from the other resources. But from this program here, we were so very fantastic to be, yeah, get a lesson plan for ownership, create this. This is, yeah, by this, we got more being self-effective, and also, yes, because of we write down this by ourselves here, so we understand well about the material and also how to teach well in teaching learning process in the class later on. And then beside the lesson plan, we also, yeah, the old one way. This is about use of textbook. As you know that the students in the real situations here is not so interested, doesn't interested to textbook. They are so interested in the situation of real context of the teachers here. So from the textbook here, we move on to, yeah, the best way of the module here, some kind of like this one. And then the next rules of thumbs are here that we are aware. So learning is very dynamic. In the past, the teachings was didactical and teacher-centered, but now we, yeah, use some kind of videos, stories, and etc. here to make a class more lively and effectively. And then to embrace humanistic values, yeah, in the past here we trap the administrative regime that states from the Ministry of Education and also ourselves as the teachers here. So by now, most of the time was used to complete the administrations here. By now, more attentive to the students' needs. So yeah, as a real and good teachers here, we have to fulfill the needs of education. Why? By how or by what? So of course, by out of textbooks. And then going to the last one about conclusion and recommendations. Ladies and gentlemen, this is very fantastic to deal with. So during a teacher's professional development program here, we got so many experience during this. The first one's about teacher's professional development program participants underwent significant transformations from the old way of the teacher here to be the most effective teaching learning process in class. And then the second one, the durability of the information is compromised by a variety of factors. The first one is about on identity as a teacher, and then the second one is about ecological context. The ecological context consists of school places, and then school cultures, and also relationship with immediate stakeholder. Yeah, and then the last one about the taken by conclusions here, the true value of transportation is seen in at least 5 years to come. Of course, 5 years to come here, further studies are needed, and then we also need some kind of processes to make it real. Okay, that's all from my sharing. Our sharing here. Maybe some minute of your questions from the participants to be answered by us in timed locations. So from us, there are, thank you so much for your participation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mukairon, and also Mr. Marcus for the very detailed and insightful presentations that you both have. And let's give applause for both presenters. And now it's time for the question and answer session. I'll invite 3 questions, 1 participant, 1 question. You may use the raise hand feature on Zoom and directly ask the question to the presenters, or you may type your question on the chat box. Mention your name, affiliation, to whom the question is addressed to, and then the question. However, seems that we have some questions already in our chat box. Maybe we should start with the first one. We have a question from Mr. Marcus Widiraharjo for Mbak Erina, for Miss Erina Andriani. So, Miss Erina Andriani, can you? Right.
Okay.
So the question is, if I'm not mistaken, the use of technology seems to facilitate collaborations among students. Collaborations mean 2 things. 1, cheating, and B, social skills. In your findings, which is more visible, A or B, and why? And yeah, thank you for the question, Mr. Marcus. And now let's give the time for the presenters who got asked to answer the question. Please, Ms. Erina, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Marcus, for the question. Of course, the teacher intend the technologies to promote and facilitate collaborations for social skills, especially. But it is also their concern that the use of technology might be used by the students for the cheating. Therefore, it is also one thing for the teachers to be learned, and also their challenges regarding the students' work originality, because they were afraid, they were unsure if the students' work were original or not, because technology could be used by the students for cheating. But their main reason for collaboration is to facilitate social skills, like that, Mr. Marcus.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
I think you have another question for Ms.
Yes.
Erina Andriani from Pak Pius Nurwidasa. I'm sorry. The question is, what strategies linked to internet quota loss?
yes, okay, thank you also, Mr. Marcus. So as mentioned before, that the teacher's challenges is regarding the internet, students' internet. So they had to manage especially the number of the online meetings, like the use of Zoom or Google Meet, and also they had to mind the selection of the assignments, especially when they assign projects for the students, because they sometimes, regarding the teaching literature, they sometimes assign for the students to make videos regarding like drama or dialogues, something like that, and they were required to upload those into YouTube or Instagram. Therefore, um, their strategies were to reduce the number, but make the rubric to assess the components that the students had to fulfill in their assignments, like that. So especially those two parts, something like that, Mr. Pius.
All right. Thank you so very much, Ms. Erna and Riani, for
Thank you.
answering the question. Now let's go to the next question. It's from Renanda Putra Tanjung from Sanata Dharma University for Sir Marcus Budiraharjo. Mr. Marcus. So it is said that the transformative learning theory undergoes transformative learning when the students admit the limitations. My question here is, while the experimentation was being held, did one or more participants admitted their limitations, and how did they overcome it? Did the participants help each other, or if none of the participants admitted their limitations, what would be the outcome? Mr. Marcus, I will give the time for you and also Mr. Mukairan to answer the question. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you for the question. I'm trying to find out the shared reflections here. So let me share the screen once again to give you a clear picture of what this our class is all about. So if I'm not mistaken, the question is, did the participant really share the limitations? Yeah, open up. Yes, that's true. So we did this. Yeah, time to fill out the reflections. Yeah, Ibu Linda. Sorry, this is the data. Yeah. So this is for the purpose of this sharing, and we agreed to share this. And the reflection, and we identify the problems and also solutions. Yeah, all the teachers joining us here, I mean in this class, also join 2 days our conversation this time, and they agree to share with us, with you all. For example, Ibu Linda Pratiwi, daerah berbukit, rawan longsor, the schools suffer from blackout very quickly, very frequently, and the signals are not that good. Now, this is an example of opening up all the problems and limitations. And by raising all these problems, that we start to realize also the agency, yeah, because we open up the solutions as well. And this is the, for example, make them interested and comfortable in our class. We use interesting media like video, PowerPoint, pictures. And this is the technical transformation, yeah. Finding interesting activities, this is technical transformation, using interesting, yeah. All these appear to have taken place among all the participants. That's my answer, Mas Renanda Putra Tanjung. So they admitted limitations, and we try to overcome them. Okay.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Marcos, for
Uh-huh.
answering the question for Mr. Renanda Putra Tanjung. And we have another question from Tri Evayani from
Oh yeah.
SMKN 1 Juwiring. So how can we manage online learning and teaching process where students face access limitation?
Ibu Tri Evayani, thanks for the interesting question and also tough question. Uh, how can I manage online learning? First, we have the learning management system, LMS. So I relied on that. And second, I tried to uh, combine flip learning activities. So they will be working on their project, and I will continue with quizzes to assess their understanding. And because LMS is quite not flexible, I use gamification strategies. I use, for example, Mentimeter, and then quizzes, and also what else? Yeah, quizzes, Mentimeter, Padlet. I use all of them for the purpose of gamification, because no matter what happens, no matter how old we are, we still love playing games. And the question is, how can we make meaningful activities using games to attract and keep the students from disruptions, yeah, to prevent them from disruptive things around them. That's my answer, Ibu Tri Evayani.
Okay, but excuse me, Mr. Marcus.
Yes.
How about if we face the students with low, they have motivation, but they have lack of economics abilities from their parents. Maybe the parents doesn't have enough money to buy their children quota for their learning process. It is, of course, my school have what the so-called is Google Classroom, use that media for the learning process, and I use it too, but we face a lot of problems in that, because the more reachable media is we are group, yeah. So we use that only, although it is for presents. I share the link of Google Form of the presents list, and also the material and the others, the task, and also the assessment too, in at the web, yeah, not from the Google Classroom. Though I also share it from the Google Classroom, but only a few of them use the Google and open the Google Classroom because of the lack of quota that they have.
Okay, thank you,
That's it.
Ibu. Yeah,
Yes.
we have Ibu Siti Murtiningrum and other Ibu Linanda, and yeah, I think they have answers. Yeah, Ibu Siti, are you there?
Yes, I'm sorry because I cannot use my camera on, a trouble
Sure.
with connection. Relating with the question, I think this is a big question for us, big problem for us. But actually, we can, we can make such the activity in the classroom, but still using the WhatsApp group. If there is a problem with the connection, so we can make many kind of activities like in the classroom, like in the Google Classroom or like in the Google Form, but we can use the media by WhatsApp group. I think that's all.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Siti. Ibu Siti is a teacher in SMK. So, yeah, she has a lot of problems as well from the limitations from the students. But she told us that she has found different ways, including utilizing the WhatsApp group. Yeah, I think because of the limited time, Pak Mukai, there is a question from Pak Pius. Yeah, how does the transformation happen? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Pak Pius, for your questions. I try to answer the questions here as brief as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, transformative years means that the conditions of bad situation or bad conditions here to be good condition, of course. And then the condition here are defined by us about 6 teachers which is dealing with joining the programs. And then I said about these situations here because of some kinds of basic conditions, like what I have taught you in what is presentations. We avert many factors like creativity of ourselves here about how to create lesson plan and etc. here. As the previous one before we join these programs here, so we are not so aware about how to create a good lesson plan, how to motivate the students well by this, and also take some kind of reference that make the students here interested in teaching learning process. Since we joining the program here, so we once again aware about the situations or the context situation, a real situation here among the students here. So that here, my mentions about doing a lesson plan by copying and etc. here, we try to take it by ourselves, and then here is reflected, and then based on the real context of situation from the students. And then the second one, we are so aware to take and also apply some kinds of medias to interact and also to make the students interest in teaching learning process, such as we used some kind of videos and also some kinds of the other PPTs to encourage the students here more active and also effective in teaching learning process. I think here the answer, Pak Pius. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me capitalize once again, Pak Pius. The transformation happens through discussion, and more importantly, on top of that, it is shared written reflection. We do it on a daily basis, and we can review what we have written, and we try to explore without without well, let me say, we try to be open-minded, yeah, to be open-hearted as well. We admit that we are full of limitations and also distortions, and we admitted that it is through being open-minded and open-hearted, we are ready to embrace new things. Yeah, that's, I think, concludes our conversation related to the process of transformation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presenters for answering the question. And sorry for Pak Pius, I think we cannot go to the next question you provided for Miss Erina because our time is limited. And once again, thank you very much for the very active and fruitful discussion on our question and answer session. And actually, this is the end of our session 1. And after this, we are going to have the lunch break from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Then we'll continue with the parallel session 2. There will be an exit ticket in the parallel session 2, so make sure you come back later. Thank you and have a great lunch break. See you. And you may leave right now and later come back.